Thank you very much. I would like to thank everybody who is here joining my presentation. And really, before I start, I would like to give a big thank you to Glaston organizing this event. And I think it's a very big thing what you have set up here, like every 2 years. I know well how much work that is, and also thank you for the technical team assisting me here. So I would like to speak about new trends we see in ERP software, and where does the complete road leads us to. So I would like to give you a short overview what I want to talk about. Very shortly to explain you who is Fanatec, and then we have the buzzwords like innovation, automation, integration. Of course, I will also touch on the different topics, IoT, industrial IoT, as well as Industry 4.0. And then I will speak about the digital factory. And then I will come to the top trends we see as a software producer, followed by questions and answers. So who are we? Fanatec, we are based in Ohio, in the US, close to Cleveland. We have also an office in Luxembourg, and we employ almost 85 people altogether. And from Luxembourg, we serve the market in Europe. So we invent intelligent software solutions. As you all know, ERP means Enterprise Resource Planning, which organizes a complete factory from start to finish. And then we constantly optimize, and we try to optimize processes, and we update the software on a regular basis because, you know, we can always improve things. Before I get to the topic, I would just to tell you our mission statement, which we live every single day. So we always want to provide the best service and products to each of our customers, and that every single day. Okay. What is innovation? What do we define as innovation? It's really the process of making something better. So if you can see a perfect example, you see that plug, that North American plug. Somebody added 2 USB plugs into it, so that makes it more intelligent. So this is what I would call innovation. So what is automation? So automation is really if you apply some control systems to a machine. It's this way to save labor, and you can increase the material usage, and therefore you can improve the whole quality by repeatable work methods. And you know, really automation has changed the complete landscape of manufacturing. So what is integration? It really coordinates the different activity of the islands. You may have, and they are all provided by many talented machinery and system vendors. This would allow you to get the most out of your money spent. You do in machinery purchases as well as in system or software, and this will increase the overall efficiency of your business. Integration means also a completely seamless workflow in your factory, because you are deeply integrating and connecting machinery and software in your factory. This way you can get a complete view of the status, and this view can be available to anyone at any particular moment in time. And for us, the winners are those who see the value in such deep integration. And this way, they can actually streamline the complete processes from start to finish. So now let's get to the 3 different topics. When we talk about IoT, in Europe they call it Industry 4.0. Moreover, we have the industrial Internet of Things, IIoT. Are these buzzwords, or do they bring me any value? So let's start with IoT. It stands really for Internet of Things, as we all know, and it means that devices can actually communicate to the user via the internet. And very often, IoT are computer and consumer products, products which are meant to be for the consumer. And I give you 3 little examples. Everybody knows how difficult it is if you have kids at home to convince your kids to brush their teeth on a regular basis. Now what's available, what we call the intelligent toothbrush. So the kid is brushing the teeth, and while it's doing that, it can play games. And this way, the game will go on, and the kid knows for how long it needs to brush the teeth. I know some older people using those too. It's not me. But these devices are all getting very, very popular. Next example, the intelligent water bottle. You see you have an application. You have a bottle of water. You exercise, and depending how much you exercise, the system reminds you to drink. Another one is the intelligent hairbrush. It is equipped with sensors, with microphones, which will measure certain things like the capture, the sound waves, and it will identify the frizziness, dryness, and so on, split ends, breakage. You can see it here in this little video. And it analyzes the speed, the force, and at the end of the day, it will recommend what kind of hair product you should use. Now we can discuss, do we need devices like that? I doubt it. I don't need such a hairbrush so that these people who sell all the shampoos, they can sell more. But a fact is these devices are existing, and it has to do with IoT. So what is the industrial IoT? It's more like focusing on collecting data from the production floor, and this will be uploaded and processed by a cloud server. So this is getting more and more interesting for our industry. So 4.0, it's like also more consumer demand, and you see like these watches, they all do the same thing, but they come in different colors and model, so they can sell even more. And it's really similar to industrial Internet of Things, but it's more like visibility, flexibility, and efficiency in your factories. And this way, the factories can become much more competitive. So now, let's another one, what we call the digital factory. This really builds on the process what ERP systems have brought to the industry. So we are developing ERP systems, and it's really the communication, the more close communication between machinery, and use this as planning tools. For example, plan your capacities much better, and I will talk about that a little later. But it's really the whole chain from customer, vendors, etc. So there's, of course, some challenges with that. And one of them is the islands of automation we are knowing we have today. So that's really a big issue. And the implementation itself as well. And if we look at today, there's really a lack of standards. So if we want to connect everything so closely together, like I'm explaining here, there's a lack of standards. So that leads me directly to FanML. And what is FanML? This is really a common communication language platform. And we, as Fanatec, have developed that. And what's very important is completely open source, and anyone can use it. And I would like to point out that tomorrow at 11 o'clock, my colleague, AJ Piscitelli, has a separate session about FanML. So I do not want to take away any details, but basically, some machinery manufacturers approached me and Fanatec, I think it was 4 years ago, at GlassTech, telling us, you guys need to develop a standard because every machinery, they have different interfaces and nothing is really compatible. So I asked the question, why we? Because you have to do it because you are independent. You are a software company. So we actually did it, and we have already many machinery manufacturers using this standard. One of them is Glaston, and many more. So this way, we can connect machines, we can get information from the machines, to the system, not only to show dashboards, but also to influence the information on the ERP. For example, influence capacities. If the machine is down, reroute the capacities dynamically to another machine on the fly. Another application would be the intelligent capacity planning. So we put in times. We can calculate machinery times. But what if the machine all of a sudden really works slower or faster? So with that information, we can implement a system whereby the capacity planning learns over time. So let's get to the top new trends. One question is really, you have to ask yourself, or I have to ask, do you already have an ERP system in place? If not, I think you are a little bit left behind. If you have one, what are the top trends? So of course, the IoT, we all talk about it. A lot of things have developed. The Internet of Things in the Industry 4.0 or the IIoT really are the key to everything. With the communication, it will even go further as it develops more and more. But this is one of the top trends we see. And then I want to talk about predictive maintenance. So if we are able, with this interface platform language I'm talking about, we can get information from the machines. We can get information about cycle times. We get information about when the machine is not working. Just an example, a processing line, a polishing line. It will tell me how much or how many linear meters of what glass type, thin glass, thick glass, etc. I processed. And I know that my life cycle of a grinding wheel is so much time. I can predict when, number one, maintenance is due and locks that machine for maintenance. But moreover, I could also organize my purchasing of my spare parts so that I don't buy them too early because it's very expensive to keep all these grinding wheels or other parts from your machines on stock. I just want to purchase them just in time, not too early and not too late. So that's a very big trend we see, what we call predictive maintenance. The next thing, if we have a lot of data, and not only data from my own ERP system, about sales, about capacities, but if I can get more data from the machine, I can do analysis, the so-called big data. And I would like to point out what we call BI. So that's really business intelligence. This is like a data warehouse where you have all the information coming together, and then the information is processed there. You can view it. You can do dashboards. And that's the thing, just to mention it again, many of these machinery manufacturers we have here, they all have their dashboards. What is the machine doing? How much is it running in a shift? When does it stop? This is all nice. But what's missing, what we don't forget, or we shouldn't forget, these customers using these tools, they have a lot of different machines. So then, theoretically, the customer would have to buy a tool from each machinery manufacturer, maybe to watch his dashboard on 10 different screens. But that's what they don't want. So that's why we have come up with that individual platform, so we can collect data from every single machine and put it on one huge dashboard where you could see your complete factory. And AJ will educate us more tomorrow about what else you can get out of it, but that's basically the complete idea. And of course, doing that, you have a complete machinery integration you get, because we are even looking further into the future, not only collect information from the machines, but I don't think it's a dream, but our dream is, we are halfway there, is also to find a platform where in future, when you buy a new machine, you can say, are you connected to that standard? You can ask your machinery supplier, And this would mean that later on the cost will go down for you because you would not have to buy a cutting code for a cutting line or a new code for your IG line because they can connect to that standard. And for the customer at the end of the day, it's much more cost effective. And also we could get to that standard. I'm actually saying all the time and complaining it doesn't exist. So that's why Fanatec actually invented it, and we made it completely open. And I think I have to point that out. It's not something specific to Fanatec. It's open code. Even our competitors could use it if they wanted to. So that's quite important, that it's also available for all other software ERP solutions. Now let me talk about dynamic capacity planning. So if you have software in your factory, in your company, you know what capacity planning is. You can set up your machines, you can put in the maximum, whether you want to work in square meter, whether you want to work in million meter for polishing, for example. You could also set up minutes and seconds with formulas. So all the machines are created and everything works fine. We have many installations, like more than 200 worldwide, where we do that already. But then the customer, when we implement it, they ask me all the time, do you have some special times? How fast is a cutting machine? Because if we look at the spec of the supplier, machinery manufacturer, this is all theoretical. We need to carry the glass, we need to rack it. So do you have some formulas? And I say we don't have. We can only assume, by employing a student, measuring with a stopwatch, and coming up with some formulas. But if we would get the real-time information from the machine, using the times we have, we can make the capacity planning learn. And this way, it could adjust the times by itself. Of course, this is all fully controllable by you. If you don't want to switch it on, you don't have to. But it is possible with this type of data to make the capacity planning learn. And that's what we see in the future as a very, very big trend. And I don't want to spend too much time on that, but the way we do it nowadays is getting more and more popular, the cloud environment. So this is getting very typical. And actually, not too long ago, I put a complete system on a cloud with the help of my colleagues from the US, just to see what is kind of the speed. If I want to work on a cloud, and I mean the complete ERP with everything. I was really surprised about what kind of speed these environments actually offer me, with a big advantage that I do not, as a software, in this case as a glass producer, I don't have an IT department. So I can contact these cloud services. I don't have to buy my server. I pay a monthly fee, and I always have everything up to date, and these systems are very reliable. So therefore, I want to mention that this is one of the trends we see, and this will always continue to be like that. And I think this is a message I want to pass across to you, and we will be talking more about that, and tomorrow there will be also AJ. But if you have any questions later on outside the normal question session, I will start in a minute. Please feel free to find me. I would give you even more details as required. So I have some questions, some time left now for questions. So please go ahead. If you have any questions, we will pass the microphone around.
Very good. Thank you very much. Big kind of applause first.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Any questions? There is one question.
We are kind of doing the similar thing in our factory, but the way we struggle is we couldn't connect multiple factories. So is it still possible in your solution to connect multiple?
Of course, this depends on the software, the way the software is engineered. We have a multi-site software solution. It's all built on one single centralized, completely integrated database, which can, of course, host different factories within one database. And I don't know what software you're using, but we can discuss it later. But
That'll be good. Thank you.
more?
Any other questions?
Maybe
No.
our competitors sitting in the last row have some questions. I'm open to answer any of them. Okay? Not?
Maybe discussion off-site then.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Mr. Mertes, thank you very much for the
Thank you.
presentation.